We should. My friends was talking about that. So I might. I don't know. We supposed to go to one last year, man. We
Now
could.
COVID came,
Yeah, we could, man. We should. My friends was talking about that.
yeah. You might have to go to one.
Damn. Yeah, and we're live. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the fourth quarter. We should go to a Defenders game. UFL, right?
XFL.
XFL. Oh, is that this year?
Mm-hmm.
Same
I think
time.
it's like right after the week after the Super Bowl, I think, or
Oh, my
sometime in that
friends
that
are
time
talking
frame.
about that.
They got
Oh,
they got I think they got an 8 game schedule, maybe 10 game schedule. So they got 4 or 5 home games. I've
and
seen the
it's
schedule, but I don't know nothing about the teams, regardless of
me
who's in it.
neither. It was kind of, they haven't, I've been seeing stuff for the UFL. I mean, I haven't seen, they should
The
just combine both. Whatever. I don't know.
the USFL last year, all the games were played in the same
Stadium,
stadium.
right?
I think this year they might have additional stadiums for that one, but it's not. I don't think it's many. But I think the XFL, everybody plays in a different stadium. So
Yep.
I'm gonna check it out. I don't. It wasn't too many games last year, but because of COVID, or yeah, a couple years ago actually, because of COVID. But I want to see what happens since I think The Rock and his ex-wife are doing it.
Yep.
So I want to see what happens. I want to see how it
This
is.
is very interesting. You got the United Football League, and then you got the XFL. But you,
Kind of around the same. Pretty much, you're gonna have football all year round at this point.
yeah, because it says the UFL is 65 days, so that must be right after the XFL season.
No, it's kind of. I think it's in like March, so it's gonna kind of coincide with it, but it's not gonna. I don't know if it's gonna be more popular because we didn't really get the chance to see the XFL. But
Yeah,
last
because
year, I watched USFL. It was football. It was pretty decent.
people liked it. A lot of
It
people said it
wasn't.
was decent.
It wasn't bad. It was just. I mean, I don't know. Some people might suffer from football fatigue or because they don't know
Oh
some of the players
yeah,
or some of the teams. So I mean, they might not be as interested in it. But I mean, I just saw it as something on TV.
yeah. So
And it was football. I mean,
it looks like it doesn't end in August.
yeah, I think the USFL might end around August, which means it's
Yeah,
right in time for the NFL
training
season to
camp.
start next month.
Yeah,
So I mean,
yep. And then
it's football all year
yeah,
round.
yep.
I ain't mad at it. I just want to see how it is.
Let's see. Yeah, we got. I'm gonna watch a game. I might go to a game. Let's see. You got Atlanta for UFL. You got Atlanta, Charleston, Louisville, Mississippi, Virginia Beach, Richmond, Pittsburgh. Got a team. Arkansas, Baton Rouge is in Louisiana. Chicago, Houston, St. Louis, Oklahoma, Kansas City. All right. In XFL, the teams are Arlington Renegades. That's close. Is that
And
Arlington, Texas?
it's
Arlington,
Arlington,
Texas.
Texas.
Yeah. Arlington, Texas. DC Defenders, Washington, DC. Houston, Roughnecks, Texas. Orlando, that's Guardians, Florida. San Antonio, Texas. Seattle, Sea Dragons. St. Louis, Battlehawks. St. Louis is 2 teams. Interesting. And Vegas Vipers. That's very interesting. We'll see. Oh, you got Bob Stoops. Okay, they got some coaches. This is interesting. So we'll see, man. I'm a definitely. I didn't watch any games for UFL last year. I don't know why. But this year I might go to an XFL game. I might watch a UFL game. I might. You said they were good last year, right?
I mean, it was a lot of the games. They were competitive, at least for the first like half of the season that I watched anyway. And it's just, I mean, it's football, but it's got a little bit of different rules, a couple different rules in it. I can't remember some of them, but I talked about it last year. Yeah, it was okay. I mean, I just don't know. You just don't know any of the players. Basically, is what's going on.
Yeah,
So you gotta get used to that.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You're not gonna know any of the players. But if you like
And
football, you like football.
I guess, I mean, there's no fantasy value into it. Some people just watch football for fantasy or watch sports in general for fantasy because they get a general interest. Or I guess you could bet on the games. So, I mean, maybe you have an interest in that. So, I mean, that might force you to watch it or pay more attention to it if it's actually on the
They're gonna have
FanDuel and all
it's
that
gonna
stuff.
be
I have no clue.
now. I don't know if it's gonna be on FanDuel, DraftKings.
All them, yeah, I don't know that.
Bet. You're probably gonna be able to bet though, like point spreads and all. I don't know. You think so?
I don't know. It might be. I have to double check. Now that Maryland's got sports betting, and I'm a little bit more invested in.
Yeah.
Stuff, so.
I gotta learn the point spread, man. Sometimes I'll be calling it real close. I'll be knowing it. Sometimes I'll be way off, but sometimes I'll be like, cover the spread. But all right, guys, man. Listen, it's championship weekend, and this is the great thing. We're gonna see some great football. The problem is, as we were just discussing, maybe that's why the XFL is going to be good and the UFL, because the football season's over and by February 12th. It's a couple weeks. Couple weeks, man. We're going to find out who's the new Super Bowl champion, and the season's over. Well, the season isn't over. Free agency will begin, and, we'll be covering that. But we are going to be covering more NBA. Let's get into it. Craig, I'm going to start with you, right? The Washington Wizards traded NBA forward Rua Amaracha, I butchered his name, to the Lakers. It's been going around. Does this make the Lakers a playoff team, or does it help? What's your thoughts?
Does it help? I don't think it matters. I just think it if Anthony Davis is there, I think they have a better chance of obviously making the playoffs. The problem is he's supposed to come back tonight. And I think Rui's supposed to play tonight, make his debut. But if Anthony Davis is not healthy, it doesn't matter who's on the team. I don't think LeBron can carry this team to the playoffs. I think he can carry him to the play-in.
Yeah.
I mean, you're asking a guy who's 37, 38 or something like that to carry this team. And he's been doing it. I mean, he's been doing what he can, but I mean, he's wearing himself out. And he's gonna look forward to this week break when All-Star weekend happens, or All-Star week now happens. So he's gonna look forward to that because he's just been wearing himself out. 46 points last night, which is amazing.
Crazy.
They lost, but I mean, he can only carry the team so much.
Yeah.
When Davis gets back, I think that's going to be, if he can stay healthy, I think that's going to help them get into the playoffs, or at least get into the play-in. Golden State is kind of underachieved, so that's unfortunate. But I mean, they're right there as well. But I mean, I don't think Rui Hachimura, he's only been like a 13-point scorer in his whole career. So I mean, I think he's going to be a good role player. He's going to come off the bench, I would assume. I don't think he's going to start. So I mean, he'll probably get you 20, 25 minutes, maybe. I think he'll probably get you maybe 10 points, 13 points. I mean, I don't know how much that's worth in terms of them making the playoffs, but I think he can help the team have another scorer. His problem is he just doesn't play defense. He can't play defense, so he's a liability on that end. But when you have guys like Anthony Davis and Patrick Beverly,
and Russ has been stepping it up this year.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. I mean,
Darvin Hams doesn't seem like he's a no-nonsense coach.
But he'll be a key for that second unit with Russ and Thomas Bryant. When AD comes back, he'll be back starting Thomas Bryant, Reeves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think it's his name, Reeves. When he comes back from injury, Reeves. So they'll have some key pieces. But I mean, to me, it all stems around Anthony Davis, and obviously LeBron. But I mean, more so Anthony Davis, because he should be the face of the team right now. He should be the main focal point of the team. And LeBron can score and he can do all that stuff and facilitate. But I mean, you're asking too much from a 37 or 38-year-old man. I mean, so I think they'll definitely make the play-in. And from that point, I think they can make the playoffs. So all they need to do if they get in the 7th or 8th seed is just win one game.
Yeah.
So I think they'll be all right.
Yeah. Mo.
Uh,
What you think about the Wizards trade? I know you're a Wizards fan.
From the Wizards standpoint, I hated it. You traded. You didn't want to give him the extension. Then he got upset because he rightfully so. Your rotation, he's getting no minutes. He can score, but he getting no minutes because you're playing Kuzma. Because you're playing Kuzma, so he's not getting no minutes. And then he's the only. I think he's the only first rounder who didn't get an extension in his draft class. I think everybody else in that draft class got an extension except for him.
Wow.
So he already that was the issue. Then you're not getting too much bump. So he like, man, go. But then my thing is you trade a dude who's barely been in the league 4 years for a point guard where he's gonna go in our rotation. Like, how does he help us? And how many second round picks do you see be successful? Like, you traded for second round picks, but how many second round? Maybe we've seen a couple, but the odds are slim to none. You know what I'm saying? Second round picks that's gonna help you the way we need help. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like it. It was a clear sign to get rid of him, and it was almost a clear sign that really you're not really trying to make the playoffs or to play in, or even. But from the Lakers standpoint, I feel like they had to do something. That move was available. It makes them better. But like Craig was saying, I don't know about play. I think play in, and then I'm always a person that believes, especially with a player like LeBron, and you don't know, and if AD can stay healthy, you never know what can happen once they get in. As far as the play in, they can get into the playoffs, but I don't know about them beating a number 1 seed like the Grizzlies or Denver or somebody of that nature 4 times. I don't really see it. You know what I'm saying? They'll get 1 or 2, and I'm just saying that off LeBron and if AD is healthy. But I think it makes the Lakers better. I do see them making a play in. I do see them making a run. I think LeBron has gone into this attitude of, we gonna make it. I'm gonna go out fighting because he had 48 last night, 9 threes,
46.
Yeah, with 9 threes, and they still lost to the Clippers. I was like, wow. I'm like, man.
Yeah, man. As a Lakers fan, I think it's okay, but the roster is just still not good enough. Like, we're gonna have to make another trade for impact piece, maybe Bogdanovich in Detroit. Maybe Hield. It's Charlotte said they're trying to trade. A lot of teams are trying to trade now. So, he and Rob Pelinka, he won a championship, but he's been making some interesting moves that a lot of Laker Nation isn't really happy. They want him to trade those 2 first-round picks. He's not budging on it. But we'll see. I like the trade. I think Mo's right. He's going to get time. He's going to get floor time because the Lakers are small. We had a lot of guards. So, for his position, he's 6'9". He could be on the floor with LeBron and AD. He has a good 3-point percentage, But you're right. He's going to have to be committed to the defensive side of the ball. Darvin Ham doesn't. He's a no-nonsense coach. So, and it would be good for him to be around LeBron and Russ, because I feel like they're wasting LeBron's, man, and they need to make some drastic moves, man, because right now Laker Nation is not happy and LeBron's not happy as well. So.
They definitely need shooters because they're like
none
bottom of the league in 3-point percentage or near the bottom. So that's one thing they haven't had all season with shooters.
All season.
I mean, the closest thing they had was Reeves, and he's out. So
he's out. I like Reeves.
He's not. He's a good. He's a shooter.
Solid. He's solid. Plays defense, hustles. He's solid. Somebody, reminds me of Caruso, with just a plug-in, a guy who can plug in and play hard. All right. Mo.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. You ready?
Yeah.
Most times we see head coaches get fired. But recently, it's been an uptick on NFL teams firing offensive and defensive coordinators. Why do you think the league has been aggressive at firing offensive and defensive coordinators? I mean, this is a lot. Maybe it does happen this year. Maybe just the first year we noticed it, but it was I think it was more than average.
I think that the takeover has been just seeing what the league is turned into and the production. If your team is not equaling up to the production, I think also a lot of it is these owners seeing one, you added a playoff team. I knew that was going to cause a lot of firing. What we're in year 2, year 3 of the extra playoff team.
I think it's year three.
And then you added that, so you almost got half your league making the playoffs. Like if you look at it right now, you got what 32 teams, 14 making the playoffs. You almost got half your league making the playoffs. So when the production's not there to even make the playoffs, I think that's adding a lot of pressure to these owners. And it's like, okay, either I'm gonna fire the coach or the coach gonna fire a coordinator. I think hands are being, it's your hand being forced. I truly think that was the case in multiple situations this offseason. I think the hand was forced. Like either you was going to go or you going to fire one of your coordinators. I don't care about relationships. I don't care how cool y'all are. Somebody got to go. I honestly don't think, case in point, I don't think Rivera firing Scott Turner was his doing. I think his hand was forced. That's just my opinion. If somebody come and tell me something different, I would say, okay, hey, good knowledge. But in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think his hand was forced because how bad things look, he should have been fired during the season. That's how bad this offense looked at times. I don't even think he should have finished the season. So I feel like that, and it's been this way for the last 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like you're giving him a pass, and because that's your man, he's been with you in Carolina, y'all rode together, whatever. But I felt like a collapse like what we had, 7-5, 7-5-1 with a chance for the playoffs, and you collapse like this, I feel like, you couldn't give him no pass no more. Somebody had to go. Somebody got to eat this. But I feel like the GM or somebody told him he got to do it. I don't think he made that move.
Yeah, I think you're right. To piggyback off what you said, I think that coaches are either they're going to be on a hot seat next year or they've coached their teams below expectations. And I think the owners are like, what's going on? I think you're right. I think that more teams are making the playoffs, and then you have teams that are succeeding, and we could take, for instance, the Chargers firing their offensive coordinator. I think it was the head coach, but they fired the offensive coordinator just to probably give him some more time. Like, all right, you know what? I'm going to fire the OC. Let me bring in somebody new, get a fresh look. We'll be a different team next year. I'm going to be honest. I don't think the Chargers owners are going to fire Brandon Staley for a while. That's just not their MO. But I think in order for him to answer questions is the scapegoat falls on the coordinator, right? Because, for instance, the Commanders, you're not firing Jack Del Rio. We have a top 3 defense. It's going to be very interesting to see if Buffalo lets anybody go. That's going to be who to watch for because some people are saying Leslie Frazier. Some people are saying Ken Dorsey. So I want to see where Buffalo goes because right now, this is a weird thing that's been trending. Craig, you probably don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. I'm gonna pass this on to you, but they're saying that McDermott is, he's gonna have the same thing that happened to Marty Schottenheimer and Andy Reid, where they've been with the organization so long they're winning, but they need a change of scenery. They said McDermott might be the Buffalo can't make it past the hump. But what do you think about the NFL coordinators being fired? It was a lot this year, man.
I do agree with like some of these coaches are asked before. I mean the OCs or the DCs being scapegoats for their teams. I just think that some of the teams, I mean, you could have went and fired a head coach, but for some reason they just thought maybe they I guess maybe they're giving them more time. I don't know. Some of the coaches I thought should have got fired, but at the end of the day, it like as far as the Chargers, for example, Staley is a defensive coordinator. or he's a defensive type of coach. He was a linebacker coach or whatever he was. So he's a defensive guy. So I think instead of firing him, you fired the offensive guy because the offense couldn't get it done, at least in the second half. I don't know what was going on. Some of the coaches,
Okay.
The play calling with Eckler, they weren't getting the ball. You're up 27-7.
Okay.
Whatever the case may be, if you want to blame the OC for that, then I mean, it seemed like that's what they did. So I had another example, but I just maybe for like the OC in Baltimore.
Yeah.
He's gone. Jim Harbaugh, I believe, is Jim Harbaugh a defensive guy or offensive guy? All right, he's
a special teams.
Okay,
so I don't know if he falls
right. But I mean, you're not gonna fire. I mean, I would assume they're not gonna fire Harbaugh, so they get rid of the OC has to go. I mean, it's kind of weird because I don't know if he wanted to leave or whatever the case may be there, but like you didn't have Lamar for a lot of the season, or for the last part of the season, I should say. You're starting Huntley, like the running backs are always in and out. You don't have any wide receivers. So I mean, it's just certain situations where I like the offense. The coordinator that gets fired and the head coach aren't sometimes offense or defense and defense. They're like vice versa. One's offense, one's defense. So it's if something fails, then you might not. If the defense fails and the offense and the defensive coordinator is there and the head coach is the offensive coach, you might just say, you know what, we can't fire the offensive coach because the offense is fine, it looks good. The defense sucks. He's got to go. So I mean, it's certain situations like that I've been looking at, and it's kind of unfortunate because the head coach obviously is the main guy, and he should get a lot of the blame because normally that's what happens. But sometimes you get your scapegoats out there, and that's sometimes it looks like these coordinators. So I don't know, man. This did seem like a lot of coordinators getting fired versus head coaches. There wasn't that many head coaches, especially after the season ended. Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of want to see what happens next season with this whole thing. And I do agree with the teams making the playoffs, and you see other teams around your division or whatever it is, and you can't get in, but they're getting in. Yeah. To that Buffalo thing, that might be a mistake if you get rid of McDermott. It's kind of good and bad because I mean, there's obviously he has a really good team, but I mean, he's gonna have to deal with Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow for the next, I don't know how many years, 10 plus years at this point, it seems like. And I don't think those teams are going anywhere anytime soon. So, and then you have other teams on the rise, like the Jets and the Dolphins. Yeah. So, I mean, they're coming. I don't know if getting rid of McDermott is the best thing, but I mean, it might be just get a new voice in there or a new. I thought it was losing Brian DeBall. I mean, man, versus Ken Dorsey. I like Ken Dorsey. I like Brian DeBall as well, but I don't know if that was looking at it now, hindsight. I don't know if that was the best move, letting him go. But I mean, at the same time, he was in position to get a head coaching job. So you couldn't just keep him as an OC forever. But
man, can you imagine if the Chargers hire him instead of Staley? Remember, he interviewed because Staley been there 2 years, right? Yeah, he interviewed for it. Damn. They would be if the Chargers had their ball with that squad, we would be talking about them versus Kansas City right now. Well, yeah, they would have probably had they had the 5th seed, right? The 5th seed. Yeah. They might have had the 3rd seed. You know what I'm saying? Under Staley, I think they underachieved. Under their ball, I think they would have been fighting they would have been in those top 4 seeds, 3 seeds. We might be seeing a championship game with Chargers in Kansas City, to be honest. But that's neither here nor there. I tried to look it up. There's no he's a special teams coach, so I guess that's what it keeps bringing up with John Harbaugh. Jim is all offense, but because he played quarterback, but John played defensive back, and then he's been coaching. He went to special teams. They say he's a special teams guy. So I guess that's I don't know. I guess he's like
I mean, yeah, the offense was not doing good in Baltimore, but I mean, you can only do so much without your best player and
Yeah.
no really
I
weapons
think
around him.
he's one of those coaches like Tomlin where he lets the coaches, the coordinators do their thing. And he worries about, everything else. You know what I'm saying? All right. Craig, 2 quarterbacks. Right now, this is just right now. I think it's gonna look crazy this off season. I don't know if Lamar's getting traded. I don't know if Tannehill's gone. Kirk Cousins. We don't know. But right now, we know Derek Carr, and right now, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is talking about being traded, which I get it. He's pulling his breath off. So let me ask you this. Derek Carr is rumored to go to the Saints, Commanders, and Jets. Where do you see him ending up and why?
I can see him on the Saints. Mainly
good there.
I think there's pieces there. I think they have a really good defense, better than the defense. He's never had a top 10 defense in I don't even know, probably top 15 or something.
It will be
Vegas.
good, yo. It will be good.
Since he's been there, so he would have a really good defense. He would have a running game with Kamara. He would have a young wide receiver in Olave, and then if Michael Thomas, I don't know what his deal is, but if he can ever get healthy and act like he wants to play on the field or whatever, he's been in and out for a while, mostly out, but he's there. Yep. Jarvis Landry, he's there. They have a solid team. It's just the quarterback position was really iffy this year. I don't know what they were thinking with Andy Dalton. Obviously, he's not the answer. It doesn't seem like they want Jameis there as the answer. So, I mean, you're picking kind of. I think they're in the top 10, or I think they're in the top 10.
No, they traded. They traded with
That's right. That's right. They did.
But they're gonna get it back. Sean Payton. He'll get that right back.
That's true.
Right back.
So, I mean, they definitely, all 3 teams could definitely use a quarterback, but I think he could make. I think he definitely fits in New Orleans, and plus that division is up for grabs at this point. Like, if he goes to New York, you still got Buffalo, you still got Miami.
Yep.
I mean, there, and then you got
the
New
Patriots.
England.
New England's they're not going to be a sorry team.
And if you go to the like, all 4 of those teams are playoff, like pushing for the playoff. 3 of them made the playoffs. Commanders could have made the playoffs. So, I mean, you have 4 teams there, so that division is going to be tough as well. And then you got a division where the team who won the division last year won 8 games, lost 9, and their star quarterback's probably not going to be there next year.
He's out.
And every other team is kind of hovering around 500, but they're trying to figure it out, including the Saints. But I think the Saints had a back. I had them in the playoffs this year because I thought James was going to be taking that next step the year before he got hurt. But so, I mean, I think Derek Carr can fit there. I think he's an above average quarterback. I mean, he's not he's not lights out or nothing like that. But I mean, I just think that if he has a really good defense behind him, I think he'll be solid. He'll be all right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because I think
that's a good pick.
I think he fits with the Saints.
All right, Aaron Rodgers. This is if he stays, but right now it's rumored. Nobody knows. He's $58 million against the cap. When we talked about this last week, but he's rumored he could go to the Packers. That's still on the table. Commanders, Raiders, Jets, and Titans. Where do you see Aaron Rodgers?
I could see him in Vegas just because Devontae's there, but the coach, I just don't know.
You think he's going to get along with Josh McDaniels?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know about the coach, and I don't know about that defense. Okay. The defense is not good, so I don't know if people want to go there and have to deal with that again. And plus, you're playing in the AFC West with Mahomes and Herbert, and like
if Sean Payton goes to Denver, you got to worry about him. You have to.
Obviously, I think staying in Green Bay would probably be his best choice. You're in the NFC. You have obviously you have the Lions coming on. You have the Vikings who are there still, but they're whatever. The Bears are far away. But I mean, you would be, as long as you can get a decent wide receiver, I think you would probably be still a contender for a Super Bowl, or at least a playoff appearance. At worst. So I think he's probably best suited to stay where he's at. I think another option, obviously, is the Jets, just because the Jets have a really good defense.
Mm-hmm.
They have young wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
They have a good running game if Brees Hall comes back healthy. The defensive line is really good. The defense in general is really good. If they had a Derek Carr, I think they could have made the playoffs. If they had
if they had Derek Carr, I think so. But Aaron Rodgers, you talking about, they pushing for the division.
Any type of competent quarterback play for the Jets this year, I think they could have made the playoff, because they were right there. They just lost, I don't know, 5-6 games at the end of the season in a row or something. So if I was Aaron Rodgers, I would probably stay in Green Bay.
Yeah.
But my second choice would probably be the Jets.
Okay.
Well,
right.
Brett Favre, it'll be just like Brett Favre.
It would be just like Brett Favre. Yo, the storylines are matching up so crazy. Just peep it though. Aaron Rodgers took a young quarterback, took it in, didn't kind of like him. Then Aaron Rodgers says he's retiring, then comes back. Brett Favre says he's retiring, then comes back, and then Brett Favre goes to the Jets. And then a young quarterback. I like Jordan Love, but
I haven't seen enough of him, but I think he could be
like
good.
him,
I don't know.
If they pick up his 5th-year option and don't trade him, and all right. Mo. All right, Derek Carr. He's rumored to go to the Saints, Commanders, and Jets. Where do you see Derek Carr going, Mo? And why?
I can see the Commanders. I think that'd be a good fit for him. We have the wide receivers there. Have tight ends if we use them, but we have tight ends there. Run game will be in place. You have a power type of running back, not to compare him to Jacobs, but you have a Jacobs style running back with a power run game you use off play action. I think that'd be a good fit. I can see him with the Jets as well. And I can see that because you'll have a dude, a proven vet in there with talent that is going to have a chip on the shoulder. It's going to have something to prove. And I think that can kind of galvanize and kind of energize a locker room that's hungry for a quarterback. So I can see the Jets or Washington with Derek Carr.
All right. Aaron Rodgers. He's rumored to go to the Packers if he stays. Commanders, Raiders, Jets, and Titans. Where do you see him ending up and why?
I can't really see the Titans unless they bring in another receiver that will entice him, because I think that would kind of be, I hate to say this, but it'd be almost a downgrade of what you was dealing with just now in Green Bay. The only upgrade would be you got Derrick Henry. That would be the only upgrade, really. I mean, I think Green Bay's offensive line is on par, if not better than theirs. Wide receivers are better. So at what area are you better? Or is he going to a better situation? And you're going in a tougher conference too. So the only thing be better is the division is kind of in turnaround. I mean, can Jacksonville do it 2 years in a row? We know what's going on in Indianapolis. We know the dumpster fire that's Houston. So that might be enticing that he sees an easy division, kind of a down division to turn around with him. But other than that, I don't see there. I can see the Raiders, Devontae maybe. I can kind of see that because of Devontae. But then again, it's like, have they been having a conversation? Because then it would look like, well, maybe they've restructured their relationship, because it looked like Devontae left because Aaron Rodgers was loafing and kind of sit there like, I don't know if I'm coming back. I don't know if I'm retiring. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So that, I don't know if they've been having conversations. So I can see the Raiders. I can't see us really with Aaron. I can see. I can see him back with Green Bay, but then I can't see it because now you wasted Love and you wasted a first round draft pick, and now y'all look like idiots because you had Love sit there for his whole rookie contract and never seen what he could do. And there was more than enough talent that draft. There was more than enough talent for them to get a receiver to help Aaron Rodgers. Like you sat there and got a quarterback, and now you might have at the time you might not know what's going on with him, but now you wasted the first round draft pick and wasted this dude and not see what he can do.
Yeah. I think they like Jordan Love. That's just me. I think they're gonna move on. I'm not gonna lie. With Derek Carr, two teams that make sense. But all three make sense, right? The Jets, he would have to make that decision. Now, listen, the Patriots hired Bill O'Brien, a coordinator, so they're going to have probably move Pat Patricia back to the defense. Their defense is probably going to be very good. And with Bill O'Brien, their offense might be good. They got cap space. You just never count out the Patriots, right? Now that they've hired an offensive coordinator, they're going to be in the air. I don't think they're going to be sorry again, right? You got Buffalo, who, listen, it could be a regular season team, but they're going to win a lot of games. And you got Miami, whose quarterback situation in the air, but they're built to win now, right? That's very interesting. The Jets have a very talented defense, a willing coach, great receivers. Derek Carr could be interested in there. New York, listen, if you're in New York, you know how that is. You're going to get TV deals after that because you're in New York. That's just what it is. Look at Mark Sanchez. He's on TV. Eli Manning. Well, Eli Manning is a pretty good quarterback. Won 2 Super Bowls with the Patriots. Gotta give it to him. You know what I'm saying? Shout out. Eli, but he played New York. And he did it. And he did it good for a while. That comes with the nostalgia playing in New York. Commanders have the team built to win now. The coach, the thing with the Commanders is ownership. Do you want to go to an unstable situation without the owner? Because listen, if they get Derek Carr and the owner comes in, they win. He's good. But if he gets there and new ownership doesn't like him and we don't win, then he fired the head coach, and then it's just this whole thing. Then you're not the owner's quarterback, and then that's just a mess. The Saints, Craig, I agree. I think that's his best fit. It's in the NFC. He's not gonna go for a first round pick. Not when you know teams are gonna lowball him. He probably go for a third, maybe 2/3. I don't know. Like it's a lot of cap. So I think I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that's good. I think the Saints fit him perfect. Offense is really good. They got a running game and they got a great defense. And they can't afford them, but the Saints find a way. They're one team that's always over the cap, and then next thing you know, they make some moves and they're under the cap, $70 million. I never know. I never know with the Saints. I never know with the Rams. I just mind my business. Okay? But I like Derek Carr to the Saints. If he's smart, that's where I would go. The division is crazy. Listen, Carolina, y'all might get C.J. Stroud, but still, that's still going to be some time. You know what I'm saying? So I like the Saints. For Aaron Rodgers, I think Green Bay's tired of it, man. I think they're tired, man. I think they like Jordan Love. I think they go with Jordan Love. Shout out to Colin Cowherd, but he said something interesting. Are the Green Bay Packers a playoff team or fringe playoff team with Jordan Love? Maybe. I don't think Minnesota's going to come back and win the division and be good like they were. Chicago's still rebuilding. You got the Lions to worry about. That's it. And the NFC is weak. So they might be a good team. Not all the NFC, right? But the NFC North and the South are, right? And the West. Rams we don't know what's going on with the Rams. You only have the Niners. The Cardinals is going to not have Kyler Murray. You know what I'm saying? Seattle's decent. But you know what I'm saying? So it's Packers, he might stay, but I think the Packers are tired of him. And, he's tired of the Packers. Commanders, I don't see it. He's going to want to go with stability. He's a smart guy. We're not going to have an owner. And he's not going to want to see Dallas and Philly. Maybe. I think with us, it's more the ownership and the stability. Now, I'm not going to say anybody's going to go anywhere for less competition because Aaron Rodgers might be like, I'm Aaron Rodgers. Raiders, I agree with you, Craig. Coach, I don't know if him and Josh McDaniels get along. I think they don't get along. I don't think Josh McDaniels is a good coach, and they're gonna learn that the hard way. Next year, mark my words, they're gonna trade Brandon Marshall. I mean, they're gonna trade Devontae Adams just like they traded Brandon Marshall. Watch, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it all over again. He's gonna do it all over again. It's gonna be like we've seen this before. And so Jets, once again, man, Jets, the nostalgia. Brett Favre went there. They got a good team. Listen, with Derek Carr, the Jets are a playoff team. With Aaron Rodgers, with that defense and young receiving core, Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Fame quarterback. I'm giving them they're fighting Buffalo for the division. They're one of the top teams in the AFC with Aaron Rodgers. That's what I think. I think he's playing that good. The Colin Cowherd said this a while ago. He said Tennessee. And this is why the Titans make sense. The division is crazy. And I think a lot of NFL players like Mike Vrabel. I think a lot of them do. And I think he'll be able to get him. Odell should be healthy. Odell will be there. He'll be able to get some free agent receivers. I think that running game, just because of that running game and that division is crazy. If the Titans had Aaron Rodgers, they would have won the division easy. Easy. Let's see though. That's tight. Watch out for the Titans. And I think the Jets are going to get a quarterback at this point, which I think they should. I think they have a young defense. They got cap space. Get the quarterback now. Boom. Try to win. All right, Mo, your thoughts on the Jacksonville Jaguars playoff game? They lost to the Chiefs, but Patrick Mahomes suffered a high ankle sprain injury. Tell me your thoughts on the game, and then talk about the injury and how this affects Patrick Mahomes.
It didn't surprise me. Jacksonville was close. I didn't think they was gonna get blown out, honestly. But what you can't do, and I get they're a young team, I get it. You can't let the backup go in there and right before the half go 15 plays, 98 yards. You can't do it. That was the game right there. Like when that happened, I said ball game. I said, I don't care if Mahomes come back or not. That's just so deflating when the quarterback goes down. He's on the bench. He slammed his jacket. Andy Reid forces him to the locker room because he wanted to get back on the field. Andy Reid said, no, you're going to get rewrapped. You're going to get taped up. And you allow backup quarterback. Yes, he's been in the league 11, 12 years, but still to let a backup quarterback just come in there in that weather, in that conditions, and go 15 plays, 98 yards like it was nothing. Like handoff, dig and dunk, just playing with you. It was almost like Mahomes wasn't even off the field. It was just real. It was just bad. I knew at that point, I was like, nah, Jacksonville might keep it close, but they're going to lose this game. That's just so deflating to let that happen. But Jacksonville showed me that they're going to be around. They're going to be a problem. Whether it be keep winning the division or whether it be wild card, they're going to be around for a while. I think there's definitely going to be a learning experience for them, something definitely they can take and build off of. And then now you look at it, it's Florida, it's Jacksonville. Now looking at what they just did, who's not going to sign there? I think they have an owner, they have a GM, they have a head coach who now knows what they're doing. That's going to say, "Oh, I need these players in here. This is what we need to get better." Doug Peterson did it there in Philly. He's going to look at the roster and say, "Okay, we're there, but how do we get better? What do we need? We need to add this piece. Do we need another edge rusher? Do we need, do we need one more wide? Do we need one more running back? You know what I'm saying? What do we need? So I think the future is bright for them. As far as Mahomes injury, it's tough. And I think it's going to be tough either way, no matter who won that Cincy Buffalo game. But I think it's tough. I think it's tough for them because I'm going to say this, and I think I forgot who, it might have been Stephen A. And we'll get further details about this when we get to who you got. But even Stephen A. said, forget Mahomes, forget Kelsey. He said if Jones, they was like if Jones and what's the other edge rusher name on the other
Clark.
side? Clark. He was like, if they don't dominate, they don't stand a chance. It's going to be trouble. It's going to be a problem. They're going to be the reason why they win this game.
Chris Jones is a problem though.
Because if you can't get a rush, you see what happens. And I don't think Mahomes is going to be able to go out there and drop 30, 20. That defense is going to win it. That defense is going to keep them. If that defense can keep it to 24 and under, or keep it to like a 2017 type of game, they got a shot. If they have a start like how Buffalo had, it's gonna get ugly. I think it might get ugly because with Mahomes' injury, he's not gonna be able to go Magic Mahomes slinging it around the barn and moving around if they get down double digits early. It's gonna be a problem. Yeah, so it's definitely gonna be interesting to see how the Kansas City's defense keep it close, and how Andy Reid and Bieniemy, how they scheme it to where, okay, because I guarantee you Cincinnati's gonna scheme it to where they know now we could play a certain way because Mahomes not gonna be able to move around. He's not doing no boots. He's not doing no read action. He's not doing no zone read on that ankle in that cold weather. He's not doing all that. So he's gonna be stationary. So how we scheme it?
All right, that's a good point. When I watched the playoff game, I wasn't really surprised. I was surprised about the ankle injury, but I wasn't surprised at the game. I do think Jacksonville, listen, they're smart. They hired a good head coach, Doug Peterson. And then you have Trevor Lawrence, who we all say we think he's going to be good. There's nobody in here who was like, no, Trevor Lawrence. No, we all said he was number one pick confirmed. He's going to be good. Last year was what they call in golf a mulligan because of Urban Meyer. I think Jacksonville is good to go, man. They're going to just keep building. This is the time. This will be Trevor Lawrence's third year. So in their division, they could, take it over. But let's see. It's not easy winning the consecutive times of the division with a young quarterback and a young team. So let's see if they're up for the challenge, especially in the AFC where the quarterbacks are real. It's not a joke. Mo, I agree with you. The high ankle sprain. I'll get into my thoughts about more than who you got. It takes 6 weeks. Everybody knows it's a heart injury. It sucks. It's painful. He's going to get shots in it. This is going to be a test for Mahomes, but I think this does affect the playoff game. But it'll be a mistake for Kansas City not to come out there and underestimate bootlegs and stuff, because Patrick Mahomes is going to try to push himself to the limit. We know he's a competitor. I think it does affect him, but right now, early reports is he's looking good in practice. He says it feels good. He's practiced today, So I think that this is what championships are made of. This is what champions are made of. So it's just good. It's going to be time just to see Patrick Mahomes' medal, and I think he's up to the task. All right, Craig, what's your thoughts on the Jacksonville Kansas City game, and how do you think the high ankle sprain affects Patrick Mahomes?
The game was pretty good. I thought it might be a little bit one-sided more than most, or more than you guys, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
This just because I just thought that Mahomes and the Chiefs in general they were on a mission this season, try to prove what happened last year in the playoffs is not going to happen this year. But after the injury, anything can happen at that point. Chad Henne, he was a few years ago. He was able to, when Mahomes got injured, he was able to beat the Browns.
Browns
could have won that game. A couple passes here and there from Baker, but Chad Henne did what he's supposed to do, and he helped the team win.
Anything's possible.
Okay. He came out and he played well. Like most of he had that 98-yard drive, go down, score a touchdown. Mm-hmm. I guess the thing that did it for me that I knew the game was over was the 2 turnovers. Mm-hmm. Down late in the game, had a chance to go and tie the game, I believe, and they turned the ball over.
Yeah.
Then they get another opportunity, and 2 plays later, they turn the ball over again. So, they got 2 turnovers in 3 plays. And you can't really, obviously you can't do that in any game, but in a playoff game on the road, when you have a chance to actually win the game with a this is the opportunity that they had with the quarterback, the potential MVP hobbled, and you're marching down the field, the chance to tie the game, and then you have another opportunity to do it again and try to figure something out, and you just, I mean, they couldn't do it. The turnovers. It is a young team. They're going to learn from this. They're going to figure it out and do better. It might not be next year. It might not be the year after. But I think if they keep the pieces intact, they'll be fine. They have a good young core. Trevor Lawrence is. I mean, he played a lot better this season, especially the second half of the season, than he did pretty much any point in time with Urban Meyer. He didn't play. I mean, that's another story. But like he looked like a different quarterback. Mm-hmm. I saw the confidence in him, especially in that game against the Chargers, where he just didn't waver, even though he threw 4 first half interceptions. He just kept coming, and he bought it in this game. It's just unfortunate that they couldn't seal the deal when they needed to late in the game with the 2 turnovers. As far as the injury goes, it's unfortunate. Once again, this is unfortunate, man. Like you want to see the teams who make it to the conference championship games or like the biggest games. For the most part, I mean, it's going to be tough to be 100% healthy, but I mean, you want to see, especially the superstars, your quarterback, for example, NBA, like you want to see LeBron James and Steph Curry and all that. You want to see your main guys be healthy, and it's unfortunate that Patrick Mahomes is not healthy for this game. This is a revenge game from last season where they had the halftime lead and they just couldn't score anything in the second half. And the Bengals came back to win that game. It's definitely going to hurt his mobility. So I want to see how he's going to respond to getting chased out of the pocket when that time comes. Because I think it's going to happen. He's going to have to make a play, or he's going to just have to make a play with his legs in general, where he's going to have to scramble for the 3rd and 4. He's going to need 4 yards. He's going to have to figure something out. So I think Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid are going to come up with some type of. They're veteran coaches. They're going to come up with a game plan here. You have running backs that you can dump the ball off to. You have obviously one of the best tight ends who had 14 catches last week. You have some competent wide receivers. None of them are great wide receivers or neither number 1 wide receivers, but you have competent ones. And then you have Patrick Mahomes who can make plays. And I would take an 80% Patrick Mahomes over 100% Chad Henne for the most part. So he's been through this before. He's had injuries. He's played through injuries before. Probably played through worse, but it's just unfortunate that it happens on this stage in less than a week or in a week, basically. So
y'all want to hear something crazy? Patrick Mahomes suffered an ankle injury that was more severe than this one in week 1 of 2019 season. The next week, he torched the Raiders for 30. He went 30 or 44, 443 yards and 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
You can't.
And he wasn't limping. You got to just bow. That's what I'm saying. You got to be very careful. Don't game plan for him differently, yo. I think you bring everything.
You can't just assume that this guy's not going to be able to go out there and play like Patrick Mahomes can play. I can't. I'm not going to put it past him, man. I don't think the Bengals are overlooking that either. I think the Bengals are going to go after him. I think the Bengals know what Patrick Mahomes can do on 1 leg or on 2 legs, and I think he's going to. You can't just like you said, you can't just automatically assume like, hey, this guy's going to be on 1 leg the whole game. He's going to be limping around and man.
You mess around, have a Jordan flu game, you better be careful.
You gotta go after.
This guy is different.
You got to go after him in this game.
Yeah. Do not game plan different with him, man. He's one of those special guys that you be like, oh man, how did he do that? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna start out with this one, man. The Bills lost to the Bengals 27-10. And they got dominated. They got dominated at home. This is very interesting to me because the Bills play really good at home, and they have been we've been picking them to be the number 1 seed or the number 2 seed, and I'm not gonna lie. I think everybody picked them. I think everybody picked them. It's supposed to be the Bills and the Chiefs, but I wasn't surprised that the Bengals won. I was surprised the Bengals won in that fashion. 27-10. The Bengals dominated the whole game. It could have been more if Chase caught the touchdown, which is very. I get what they're saying. He had it, and then it at the last minute rolled, whatever. But he scores that. This is a blowout, and it's just very surprising to me. Like Buffalo has been this juggernaut all season, and now it's just questioning too much on Josh Allen's shoulders. That's why I asked the question earlier. Like, well, you can blame. You got to blame the offense and the defense. You know what I'm saying? The Bengals were doing whatever they want on offensive side. They're down 3 offensive linemen, and they run for 172 rushing yards. There's no pass rush, right? And then on the offensive side of the ball, they had 63 rushing yards. You got 3 quality running backs back there. You're depending too much on Josh Allen. And I know Stephon Diggs is emotional, as he should be. He wants to win. He's tired of losing. But it was just shocking to me. And note to self, next year, are the Bills regular season winners and not playoff winners? I don't know, man. I love Bills Mafia, though, but I know it sucks from there. So where do the Bills go from here? Well, Bengals are going up. The Bills, I don't know, man. People been saying this. I don't agree with it, but a lot of people saying, the Bills might let Josh McDermott go after next year if they can't win it and hire another coach, like the Eagles did with Andy Reid. And once again, like San Diego did with Marty Schottenheimer, they might be looking for that coach to come and take the next step. And it could be, let's say it's, I don't know, what's the coach out of the offensive coordinator out of Detroit? He comes and they win a Super Bowl. I think they're trying to look at something like that, but I gotta keep my ear to the ground to see rumblings. But I don't know from here where they go, because Leslie Frazier is a good defensive coordinator. Ken Dorsey's in his first year. I think they dial it back and start really running the ball and stop being dependent on Josh Allen. Be dependent on Josh Allen, but don't he's running the ball a lot. And listen, we've seen how that happens with quarterbacks. Ben Roethlisberger, Cam Newton, big quarterbacks. If you don't win in that first 5 years, we're gonna start seeing them get injured from those hits he's taking. He doesn't slide; he trucks people over. But all right, Craig, what's your thoughts on the Buffalo Bengals game, man? Where do the Buffalo Bills go from here?
Well, the game was a lot different than I thought it was going to be a high-scoring game, and I thought it was going to be
close.
I thought it was going to be the best game of the weekend.
Yes,
it turned out to be one of the worst.
Yes, it was,
and it was unfortunate because this is the game I really was like, okay, you know what? I'm not doing nothing the rest of the day for it. I'm setting up for this game. And I'm ready for this game because especially what happened the night before with the Eagles and the Giants. That was the last game of the night, and then first game was this game, and the Bills just didn't have it. I think it seems like ever since Von Miller went down, that defense just has not been the same. And I don't know, one player can make that big of a difference, but it seems like with this team, I don't know if it's just mentally or if it's actually the team just not being able to get to the quarterback, because I know Von Miller can wreak havoc on quarterbacks and get to the quarterback and all that, but just this team's just not the same defense anymore. So I thought they might have figured it out because he's been out for a while now. So I thought, especially this game, you're at home, it's snowing, everything's in your favor to win this game, and Josh Allen just, I mean, it's
DeMar Hamlin's there. I thought it was a setup for
right. They had that going on. It's
set
just
up a win, man.
it didn't work out. I mean, Joe Burrow. I mean, I give him credit, man. This guy, any type of situation, this guy seems to thrive in. And he just lives for it, and he's just so cool under pressure, and he just doesn't sweat anything, and he goes out there and just makes plays. Josh Allen couldn't do anything. Like, he did nothing. He threw a pick and he ran for 1 touchdown, but I mean, it just wasn't. It just, I mean, it never materialized into the 34-31 type of shootout that I thought it was going to be. And I think if this would have been better weather, clearer weather, I think the Bills would have. I mean, the Bengals could have beat them up even worse. I don't know at this point. I mean, it's on. You're with Mahomes, Burrow, and Allen. You're gonna have two of those quarterbacks not make it to the Super Bowl. Pretty much seems like how it's been going. And you're gonna have one of those guys not make it to the AFC Championship game, unless somebody like Tua or Russell Wilson, if he ever gets it together. If they break, or Trevor Lawrence, if they ever can break in, which I think at least Trevor Lawrence has an opportunity to.
Yeah.
And I think Tua does too, if he can stay healthy, because their team around him. But like, these guys going to have to figure it out, because I mean,
you're coming.
They are coming. So I think right now, Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes, at least those two, see it, and they can kind of feel it. But they're taking advantage of the situation. And Josh Allen just cannot, for some reason, get over that hump. Him and Lamar are kind of in that same category, where they're really good quarterbacks, MVP caliber quarterbacks. Lamar's already won one, but they just can't take their team to the next level and elevate the team. And like you said, there is a lot on Josh Allen's plate. He has to do a lot. He's a big physical quarterback, kind of like Cam Newton in the sense that he can run, and he'll get you 700 yards a season, and he's going to truck you over, and he's going to do whatever. But
yeah,
he has to. They have to do something else with that running game. I thought bringing in Dalvin Cook's brother,
James Cook,
drafting him,
and Nyheim Hines
help elevate that running game. Along with Devin Singletary, I thought at least those two guys could be maybe not like Dillon and Jones, but like a decent 1-2 combination. And it didn't materialize into that. Now I get it. Cook is only in his first year, so maybe next year. But Singletary has never been that guy, so they need to figure something out with that running game. They've never had a good running back in years. I can't remember the last time. I'm not going back to Thurman Thomas, but I mean, it's been a while since I can remember a really good Buffalo Bills running back to come out and just be dominant for that
LaShawn McCoy.
Probably Willis McGahee, maybe, or something. I don't know, man.
LaShawn McCoy.
He balled. I remember McCoy mostly from Philly, but
he had like 3 good years there. He made some All Pros and Pro Bowl. But did Corey Dillon play with him? Corey Dillon? No, Corey Dillon was the Bengals and Patriots.
Oh, I mean,
I don't know.
Even still, man, it's. I mean, they need to figure something out. I think going forward next year, they got to figure out that running game definitely. They need to get some more pass rushers for that defense, because if Von Miller goes down again, or if he retires or whatever it is, they're gonna have to figure something out, because that defense just only got for having 3 offensive linemen out, and you only get 1 sack. To me, it just seems like it's unacceptable.
Well, Travis Henry, that's going back in the day.
So, I think definitely they need to get a pass rusher, and I think they need to figure out that running game. Gabe Davis he's a decent number 2. I think Stephen A. at one point said he was the best number 2 wide receiver in the league or something. I blatantly went out and disagreed with that. I don't know where he got that from. He's good, but he's not great. But I mean, they just got to figure something out with that team, man, because there's too much talent on that team, and you don't want to keep getting to the playoffs and just not being able to get over the hump with Josh Allen in his prime, or even before he gets to his prime. Like, he's still ascending up, and he just, unfortunately, he's getting beat by guys like Mahomes and Burrow. So
you got Willis McGahee.
I said McGahee, yeah.
Marshawn, but they traded him. Marshawn was there for a second. But I don't think he wasn't a Marshawn.
It seems like the Bills just haven't had a good one, decent running back for a while that you can think of that's like a staple there, like a Dalvin Cook
Yeah,
or something.
LaShawn McCoy was on there for 3 years.
So
Yeah, he was on
they
there.
got some work to do, man. And the
Yeah.
division is probably only going to get. I mean, with Tua stays healthy and the Jets get a quarterback, and the Patriots now they got an offensive coordinator. I'm not saying they're not still going to be the favorite in the division, but man, it's not going to be easy again. So
It's not Mo. Buffalo Bills lost to the Bengals. What's your thoughts on the game? And then where did the Buffalo Bills go from here? Because the Bengals are going up.
Man, it shocked me early. Like to just see Bengals totally dominate them that early, like just come out and punch them straight up in the mouth was just real concerning to me. Like it just was like for you to be at home, everything you went through last year, they changed the rule for you. You know what I'm saying? You get here and it's now boom, you get blown out. Like boom, it's just total domination. And they was missing offensive line. They were missing what three starters?
Three starters. Yep.
You wouldn't even know it. Like they just totally dominated you up front. And it's like, and it was like even offensively, it's like they can never get going. And it's almost like the Bengals, it was almost like the Bengals game plan totally dictated that you couldn't run the ball. Like they set it up for no one. It was almost like they knew no matter what the weather conditions were. But then it was almost hard to run the ball because you already down 2-3 scores. You know what I'm saying? So you almost pressing now because when you face Cincinnati, you almost feel like you got to press because you don't know if you're gonna get them stops. So it was thing. But one thing I heard Booger McFarland said, I was listening on my phone, I think after the game the next morning. He said the two problems that Buffalo had last year, they had this year. You couldn't run the ball, you had no pass rush. And he was like, so the same, they never upgraded. They did with Von Miller, but Von Miller goes down, nobody else stepped up. I didn't even know he's up for a contract this year. I didn't even know he was on the field against that game. Ed Oliver, top 10 draft pick. I didn't even know he was on the field. He was getting dominated. I didn't even know he was playing. I was like, where Ed Oliver at? Like it was just
That's
total.
Crazy.
It was total, and I think it was also Cincinnati trying to prove a point. Like, oh, y'all thought this was a fluke. Now we about to run this back. Like we about to let it know we here for real. You know what I'm saying? So it was just kudos to just that team, and it's hard to believe that 2 years ago they was about to fire the coach. Remember, we was on here talking about are they gonna fire Zach Taylor and they're gonna get rid of him. Now look at that. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to him turning around and and it started with a huge decision. I honestly thought they was losing their mind when they got Chase instead of the tackle, but look what happened. You know what I'm saying? I thought they needed the offensive lineman, but hey, look, it didn't work out. So
it worked out to the nth degree. Now they got to pay them all.
For Buffalo, it's the frustration, and it's what do you do now? Do you go out here and try to overpay a running back? Do you draft a running back again? Do you get edge rushers? Because it's like, do you hope Von Miller come back healthy next year and don't get hurt? Like, what do you do to fix your two biggest problems? And then also, it's now being able to tell Diggs, like, like you said, are we just a regular season team or can we win the playoffs now? Because Diggs, I heard Diggs about to walk out of there with his equipment still on. Like Diggs wasn't about to take his stuff off. Like he was hot. Like they had to go back and get him to come back in there and take his stuff off. Because he was about to leave.
As he should be, man. It's tough. Yeah, man. All right, Craig. Cowboys. Yeah. So they lost to the 49ers. It was down by 7. It was a good game, a really good game. With another Dallas letdown, do you blame Dak Prescott for the loss? So give me your thoughts on the game, and then do you blame Dak for the loss?
The game was really competitive. It was really good. It was a lot different than the game before it, which I thought, like I said, was going to be better. But the Cowboys, typical Cowboys, like, I mean, they only do so much. They get people's hopes up and then you just come crashing back down. And that's what happened in the game against San Francisco. I never thought that they were going to win this game anyway. I thought San Francisco was the better team. I thought Dallas had some pieces on offense. I think they still need another wide receiver. And once Pollard went down, I mean that was pretty much a big blow to that team because they couldn't run the ball. Zeke is not Zeke Elliott like he used to be, so he's not going to be able to run for 100 yards. At least I don't think so. I don't know if he can do it. I mean, it doesn't seem like he can. So he's going to have to figure. They're going to figure that out. I don't know if they want to bring Pollard back. It's unfortunate that I mean, it's unfortunate that he got hurt because now you have to figure that whole situation out.
They said they want to franchise tag him, but they got Schultz.
I don't know what they're gonna do, man, because they still need another wide receiver. I don't believe in Gallup, and I just think CeeDee Lamb could. I mean, it'd have been better for them if they had somehow found a way to keep Amari. But
yeah, that's what everybody says.
You know, so it is what it is there. But I mean, Dak Prescott just got outplayed. He got outplayed by the last pick in the draft. He just didn't look. He didn't look good, man. The Dak Prescott that came out against that Tampa Bay team was a different Dak Prescott than what happened in that San Francisco game. Like, there was opportunities for him to run. He wouldn't run. He made some bad plays, some bad throws in general. Like, just those, and some of the ones that didn't even get picked off, that should have got picked off. It just didn't look like the same Dak Prescott. I mean, he's had a lot of games this season where he had multiple interceptions, 17 of them total, including the playoffs. It's just, I don't know, man. I think you could say this probably was an outlier. You can either say this was an outlier season for him, or this could be a sign of things to coming next year. So I don't know. I think they're gonna have to bring him back. I would anyway. He's under contract, so why not try to give him at least one more season, see if he can stay healthy, see if he just has a better season next year than he had this year, because this year was horrible. And once again, I mean, Sam's they hyped it up as this week's Super Bowl, or last week's was their Super Bowl or whatever it is, because they lost to him last year. And there was still some of the same issues in that game that happened the year before with the time management or the clock management with that. Why didn't they call a timeout when they were about to punt the ball? You just let like 30 some seconds waste off the clock for what? It just didn't make any sense. You got to have an opportunity to get as much time as possible and keep as much time as possible on the clock. And instead, you just let the clock go down to basically not. I mean, almost to the 2-minute warning. It just didn't make any sense. I mean, and then you obviously had the team that had multiple penalties. Some of them were like ticky tack, but I mean, some of them were legit. It's just the same stuff that happens to Mike McCarthy and to the Cowboys pretty much in the playoffs. When it comes time to actually win some of these bigger games, they just don't do it. I mean, he's 2-4 now, Dak Prescott in his playoff career, 2-4.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is now. Brock Purdy didn't play a great game, but he played a more efficient game. He didn't turn the ball over. He seems to be a little iffy when he's throwing on the run, but like they had a better 1-2 punch in the running game. Like I said, Pollard going down, that definitely hurt the team. You're leaning too much on CeeDee Lamb to make plays. He had a great game, but I mean, it like I said, they need another wide receiver. I don't know what happened to Mike Parsons. I don't even remember him even being on the field at yesterday.
Trent Williams, man.
I mean, you have to do. I understand that, but I mean, Trent Williams is going to line up on the left side. You have to do something else, like put him on the right side. Put him as a linebacker. Don't put him as like do something different, man. There's multiple ways that Quinn can utilize the talents of Michael Parsons. But you know, it's kind of what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a close game. I thought it was going to be more high scoring though. But I thought the Cowboys would eventually lose this game, and I'm glad they lost. Now they can. I saw people punching the TVs.
That's crazy, man.
I'm confused because now you're hurting your hand, and you're also hurting your TV. Like the TV's broke, so now you're out a couple $100 for a TV. I don't know. It's like crazy, I think somebody said the Cowboys fans are the only fans who like start punching and breaking TVs.
Yeah, Burning
stuff like
jerseys,
that.
throwing jerseys away.
Yeah, so I mean, like I understand that like they're a real passionate fan base, but I mean, they take it overboard sometimes. But hats off to the 49ers, the Cowboys. It's just another thing that the Cowboys. I mean, it is. It's come to like you come to expect this from the Cowboys.
Mhm.
I kind of feel sorry for Jerry Jones because he's getting up there in age and he's kind of. I mean, people been talking about his mortality and all that stuff and his life coming up and all that, and it's kind of sad to hear that. But I mean, they got to do something in Dallas, man. Dak Prescott he's horrible. He was horrible this season, but I think they should run it back with him next year and try to get some pieces around him on offense.
Yeah. Mo, San Francisco versus the Cowboys. Your thoughts on the game, and do you blame Dak?
I mean, I can't. Yeah, I have to. I'm sorry. I was trying not to, but when you hold a team to, and yeah, Parsons was nowhere to be found. But when you hold a team to 20 points, you know what I'm saying? Was it 20? Yeah, you hold a team
19.
to 20.
19.
We hold a team to 19 points, under 20 points in the playoff game. You gotta win. You gotta win. Like that's just why I know they wore them down in the second half, but overall, for you to hold a team to only 19 points, and you got multiple people in that off. You got about 4 people in that offense making top 5 of their position money. You got to win the game. You got to win the game. Point blank and period. You got to win the game. It's just sad. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, Martin, Dak, Martin, Dak, Zeke, and it might be somebody else making like top at least top 5 and 10 of their position money. You got to find a way to win the game. Yeah, you gotta win. You gotta win the game. Like that's to me just unacceptable. To lose like that. I see if it was a shootout, he threw a late pick, but for you to get just totally strapped up like that, like that was just bad. Couple of Dax throws, his interception. Not both of them was on him, but it was just like why? Like come on, man. Come on. Like it just can't be this. Like even like Craig was saying, times he could run, he didn't want to run. It seemed like the moment got too big for him because he wasn't in the rhythm like he got against Tampa, where things went well early. It was like, all right, this is another speed. Like we said, this is a whole nother beast you playing. This ain't Tampa. This team ain't old and this team is fast.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it showed. But definitely shout out to San Fran. Like I said to y'all, I think because of this Brock Purdy late season run, Shanahan's in the top 3 for finalists for Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I believe it's him, Dayball, and Doug Peterson that end up being the 3 finalists.
Yeah.
So shout out to Kyle Shanahan for what he's done, because how many coaches can you say can take a 3rd string quarterback? I know we can sit here and talk about the talent they got and all that, but how many coaches can take a 3rd string quarterback, especially when 2 of them got hurt, and especially with already the team is dealing with the all-season controversy of the 2. And then now both of them get hurt, and you down to your 3rd quarterback who is Mr. Irrelevant, and now you're in the NFC Championship game.
Maybe 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how
very short list.
Yeah, very short list of who could deal with that and still not only get there but be dominant and productive. It's not like they limped there. It ain't like they've been dog fights and close games. They've pretty much punched everybody in the mouth, pretty much. And 7 straight? I think he's 7-0 as a starter now. 5 in the regular season, 2 in the playoffs. So I'm looking forward to this Philly game, man. I think this is going to be a game where it get the whirlpool ready, the ice bath ready. This is going to be a good old physical one right here. This is going to be a good old physical punch you in the mouth game right here. It's definitely going to be who offensive and defensive line is going to play the best. That's what it's going to come down to.
It's gonna be
real. I don't see this being a blowout. I'd be shocked if this. I just don't see it. Like I think the only way it can be a blowout is if Purdy starts turning the ball over. If he's turning the ball over, then it might get bad because you don't want to give Philly a short field ever. But other than that, I definitely see it be a close game. But we'll get there in a minute. But now Dallas all season If you think Lamb's a number one, you got to find a number two, a solid number
You got
two.
to, yeah, you have to.
You know, somebody that's going to trust, because it seems like when things get thick, he only looks for Lamb and doesn't want to look for nobody else. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's wide open. You got to figure out what you want to do with Dalton Schultz. They franchise tagged him last year, so I don't know if they're going to do it twice.
Oh man, you know, he might walk.
Yeah, then you got I want to say Pollard. You know, and then looking at it, D-line, I mean, I think the D-line is kind of in place from the front seven standpoint, secondary standpoint. You know, you might want to see something on the evaluate what you got on the opposite of Diggs, because that down the stretch, that position became an issue, getting cooked. So you know, definitely some decisions to be made and see what they want to do. If they want to save some money so they can add something else, they can let Schultz go. I think the rookie tight end played pretty well down the stretch.
Yeah,
I think it was from Wisconsin. But you know, you got a decision to make what you want to do here. You know, what you want to value here to make this team better. Like what? Because Jerry Jones, I think somebody said it. Somebody was like, Jerry Jones doesn't want to win another Super Bowl. He needs to win another Super Bowl. So
yeah, I mean, he's getting up there.
And the NFC is getting better. Like it's not like, and the Dallas has to make moves. Let's not make it seem like Dallas could stay status quo right now and still have the same season next year, because the NFC is growing. You know what I'm saying? It's getting better by the minute. So
yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I mean, it was a good game. It was a good game. It was hard fought, great defensive battle. I do agree with both of you when it's like your opposition scored 19 points, and Dallas is one of the highest scoring offenses in the NFL. So they're capable of doing it. And if you hold somebody 19, you should be able to score 24, especially if you've a higher scoring offense. So that right there is an issue, but it was a good game. They got some things to do next year. They got a lot of things to address. I think Schultz probably walks in free agency. Tony Pollard, they probably franchise tag him. They already be talking about it. Zeke said he's going to restructure his deal, sign a friendly deal. They'll probably do that. But I think this is let me stick to the game. The San Francisco 49ers are great. We're about to get to them in the Who You Got segment. But Brock Purdy's up for offensive rookie of the year. You know? And San Francisco is, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, they're going to have Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. At this point, I think Brock Purdy's their starter next year, and they're probably going to trade Trey Lance. I think they're going to trade Trey Lance. It's crazy. I like Trey Lance, but you got to be available to play on the field. I mean, you at this point, listen, man, if the veterans like Purdy and he's winning in the playoffs, like if he goes to the Super Bowl, you got to bring him back. He's on a rookie deal. He's just going to get better, and you get to load up around him. That team is built to win now. They can sign everybody, restructure, bring in more talent. They can re-sign you, give them a nice deal. Debo's already signed up. Trent Williams is signed up. You know, Kittle signed up. Cat McCaffrey signed up. Their team is ready to win now, and Purdy's on a rookie deal. Jeez, man, they can get 3 years. This team could be good for 3 years, so I don't know why you would keep Trey Lance. It sucks. It sucks, but I don't know how you go from here, you know? But, I mean, Brock Purdy's just playing great. Great job by Kyle Shanahan. He's a great coach, man. He's a great coach. I think he's going to eventually get a Super Bowl. He's always there. He's either in a championship game or going to the Super Bowl or in a championship game again. Like, they're always there. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have a good team. John Lynch is a phenomenal GM. Dak Prescott, it is on him. He has to take the blame because he played phenomenal last week. He almost played perfect last week against Tampa Bay. But you know what? This is what the Cowboys are. They played great against terrible teams. Tampa wasn't good. I picked them to win, but they weren't good. They weren't a good team. They were below 500. But they dominated them. They dominated Tampa. But when you play a good team, get flustered. And that Amari Cooper trading him to Cleveland bit them in the butt. If they had Amari Cooper, we don't even know if they would have been playing San Fran because they might have had the number 1 seed. We don't know. But Amari Cooper makes that much of a difference. And we don't know if Amari Cooper would have restructured his deal. He might have. We don't know. Y'all just traded him for pennies. And now you have to find another threat. And Dalton Schultz is going to go. Now you got to find another threat. You have to. Because you got to get Dak more help because he can't do it by himself. And listen, Dak is just one of those quarterbacks that's in a weird position. Dallas fans are like, Skip Bayless talking about trade him for Aaron Rodgers. Come on, man. Now you got Aaron Rodgers. You think he's going to win in the division round against San Francisco? No. He would have lost too. I don't see Aaron Rodgers in Dallas because you're going to have the same problem. Just keep Dak. But, and Jerry Jones doesn't do that. He likes his quarterbacks. Did you know somebody posted a stat today that Dak Prescott and Tony Romo have the same playoff record?
I've seen that.
Yeah. I don't think Jerry's mad. He's loyal. That's one thing about Jerry Jones. I'm going to be honest with you. He's loyal to his coaches and players. He is. Say what you want about him. He paid that. Jason Garrett was head coach for 8 years and he was mediocre. Jerry's a big relationship guy. So shout out to Jerry though. I'll give him that. He's loyal to his players, man. He is. I give him that, man. He's not going to trade Dak. He's going to try to figure some things out. They're going to reload and he's going to come back. He's going to come on ESPN in August and say Super Bowl. And everybody's going to put him back, and that's going to be the topic. Watch till I tell you. All right, Mo. Giants, they got dominated by the Eagles. I told him that. I knew Corey picked the Giants, but I was like, you tripping, man. I was like, they're going to get punished. I was like, you tripping. I kind of baited him into it.
Yeah, he did.
I was like, go ahead, man, go ahead. I was like, I'm not picking them.
Ain't no way.
But Mo, since the Giants got dominated by the Eagles, do you agree with the Giants keeping Saquon and Daniel Jones?
I do. I mean, you finally got exposed for the lack of talent you have at the wideout position and the lack of talent you have outside of Daniel Jones and Barkley. And you still need to upgrade your offensive line. Now I'll say this though, for the money and draft picks you put into your defensive front, that was bad. I understand what Philly has up front, but still, you talk about Dexter Lawrence, who you drafted, who's been there 4 or 5 years.
Leonard Williams.
Leonard Williams, who you put money into. Thibodeau, who you drafted.
Thibodeau's nice though.
Yeah, he's nice, but they just got totally it was so bad.
I got you.
It was so bad that what's his name? Analyst. What is his name? Man, he used to be a GM in the league for a minute. Louis Riddick even said, "Let me pause for a minute because I always say that on Ed is gonna get me fired about the way that they were dominating." Like he was like, I've never seen a bunch of grown men just getting straight slammed to the ground like that for a whole game. He was like, it was just ridiculous. He was like, I've never seen grown men just get dominated on the field like that. Just like with straight, you just seeing men just constantly on their backs. I was like, oh man. I was like, yeah. So it was a dominating before. And I think the Eagles wanted to make a point. And they wanted to make a point with Jalen Hurts that he's there. Like they did design runs with him to show that he's healthy. They did throws downfield to show he can get it downfield. They did certain things for him. Now this is a totally different beast they about to face with San Fran. So I would like to see how they're gonna use Jalen Hurts against San Fran because their speed is gonna match his speed as far as him running out with Warner and the safety and their talent is going to be there. Bosa, I don't see them running. Are they going to use Bosa as his own read person? Are they going to try to run away from him as much as possible? Let's see how they scheme this. It's definitely gonna be a chess match. It's definitely gonna be interesting to see. I'm excited to see how it's gonna look, how it's gonna roll. I'm definitely amped up to see this matchup. I think it's gonna be a great matchup.
Yeah. I think first of all, I knew this was gonna happen. Because listen, Craig mentioned it and I mentioned it. Minnesota's plus and minus was sick. Okay. And their defense is horrible. I would say Giants are gonna win, right? Against a good team, the last time the Giants played the Eagles, when the Eagles were healthy, they dominated them. And I love the Giants. I love what they're about, but this is a league that if your defense dominates, the Eagles have a good defense, the 49ers have a good defense, Dallas has a good defense that flashes, right? The difference is those three teams have quarterbacks and offensive pieces that are able to expand the field. Saquon is a good offensive piece, but you don't have no receivers on the outside, man. You got to have receivers and playmakers on the outside. You have to survive in this league. So I think that what happened was the overall talent came through, and the Giants got dominated. It just reminds everybody how good of a coach Brian Daboll is and how that they got some more work to do, whether it's on the defensive side and the offensive side of the ball. Now, do I agree with them bringing back Daniel Jones and Saquon? Saquon says he wants 16 a year. He's been hurt, not hurt in a contract year. I've seen it all before. I love Saquon as a player. If I ever met him, I love you as a person too. I think you got to sign Saquon. I think he's a good running back. I don't think you let him hit the free agent market. And he said he doesn't want anything to break the team. So it sounds like he's, I don't think 16 million is bad for. I don't think 16 million is bad for a running back. I'll let you know in a minute. But Daniel Jones, I'm not a fan of Daniel Jones. I have never been a fan of Daniel Jones. But he seems like he's found a place in New York. And I think that they're going to be able to work a team-friendly deal because I just don't think I think he knows that I'm in New York. I've been here. The coach, I like the coach. We're going to work something out. I think he signs a team-friendly deal. Not a team-friendly, but he's not going to break the bank. He's not going to be like 1 year, $40 million. I think he's going to sign for $25 to $28 million for like 3 years or something like that. Right? 3 years, $75 million contract, and then an option for the third year. And they're going to see where they're going. But I think that at this point, the Giants have to kind of, because they don't have any options left. So they're kind of like, hey, let's see what you do another year in Brian Daboll's system, and let's try to get you some more outside weapons. It's a must. They got to either draft a receiver or find a receiver free agents. They have to. All right, Craig.
Okay, so the game was horrible. After about the second quarter, I think I just turned it off at that point. I kind of knew that sometimes like the Chargers game, the Chargers and Jaguars came back. The Colts and the Vikings game, the Vikings came back, but something just told me this Giants team is not going to be able to come back. They just don't have enough. To me, they don't have enough pieces, and it showed in this game. Man, the Giants just got dominated, and I think the Eagles didn't really need Jalen Hurts to go out there and do anything spectacular because they pretty much dominated this game. He only had 150 some yards passing. They ran the ball for like almost 300 yards, like 270 or something like that. So they were able to go, and the defense just dominated them too. So it really wasn't much that the Eagles needed to do from Jalen Hurts' standpoint to prove that he's ready to go for the next round, basically. Now I kind of want to see what happens next week because it's gonna be a tougher team, and he's going to have to do a lot more in that game than he did in this game. But I mean, he was just coming out, and for his second game back, he proved that he could go out there and make plays, and he definitely did that. The Giants overachieved. To me, they overachieved this season. I didn't have them in the playoffs. I think I had them with like 6 wins. So to go out there and to finish with 9 wins and make the playoffs, I thought was a huge improvement for this team. As it's a lot that they can build on, and they basically did it without having a big time wide receiver. Only Saquon Barkley is like I don't even count Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is what he is. Like, he's a mediocre quarterback. He's out of the games he played this year, he only threw for more than 230 yards 3 times. And that was against the Lions, who have a terrible defense. I think they're like number 2 or number 3 in passing defense. And against Minnesota twice, who once again are a terrible defense. And they were, once again, they're like number 2 or number 3 in passing defense in terms of yards allowed. So the only team that's worse than those 2 teams is Tennessee. So Daniel Jones is not I mean, granted, he didn't have any guys to throw the ball to. He didn't have. He's not like the best quarterback, but he's mobile. He got you 7. He only got 15 passing touchdowns, but he got 7 rushing touchdowns. He got like 700 yards rushing. So he can go out there and he can do stuff with his legs. So I mean, obviously Saquon is what it is. I would definitely bring him back. He said he doesn't want to go above Christian McCaffrey's deal. So it's kind of be like a team-friendly type of deal. So he's eligible to get. So might as well go ahead and sign him for that if you can. And I mean, they have the money for it, so why not? And then Daniel Jones, I mean, he's not going to command. To me, I wouldn't think he's going to command a lot of money. His best season, I think, statistically, could have been this season, or it could have been his rookie season. Rookie season, he had more touchdowns. He had more interceptions too, but he's. I kind of want to see what happens next season under another year of Brian Daboll's system and get him some receivers. I know they had Shepard, who's been there, and I think he's a really good slot receiver, but he's always hurt. He's always hurt. So they had to figure that out. I thought they might have hit it with Galladay. Yeah, it didn't work. It doesn't seem like it worked out.
It's weird.
They drafted Kadarius Toney. They traded him this season. So that didn't work out. So I think they have to address that wide receiver spot, like the number 1, number 2, pretty much all of them. I mean, they don't have. I mean, maybe Slayton can be a decent wide receiver, but he's not a number 1.
He's the third. Yeah,
he's not number 1 or 2. I mean, so they got to figure that out. But Daniel Jones, he just doesn't. He doesn't like. I would not want him to have him on my team. But I mean, he might just fit for that system in New York. And I mean, you can't get rid of him now. He just took the team to the playoffs for the first time in a while. Yeah. So you have to bring him back for that at least, and see where it goes for next season. I don't think he's going to command a lot of money, so he should be fairly easy to sign if you want to just go ahead and run it back. But I mean, I would also do my due diligence and look for who's out there as far as the wide receivers. Not too many of them.
Yeah, it's not.
That's out there. So, I mean, your best bet is probably Daniel Jones, but I mean, I think you would do yourself a disservice if you don't look to see what other options are there. I think Geno, is a free agent. I could be wrong.
Geno is, yep.
So, I mean, that might be one of the better choices out there. It's not much.
I don't know if Seattle lets him go, though.
I don't think so either, but I mean,
he is a free agent. Baker Mayfield, Tom Brady, Sam Darnold, Jimmy G, Teddy Bridgewater, Daniel Jones.
Okay, you're not saying anybody. Thank you. Other than Tom Brady, who's 45.
This one has Lamar in here, but I don't think he is
going to be a free agent.
He is. Technically, you're right.
Sign him before free agency starts.
Or franchise and trade him.
Or do that too.
Yeah. You're right. He technically is. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't mad at that. But I see what you're saying about Daniel Jones.
I don't think it's great. Like, he doesn't put up the numbers that I would want to have as my franchise quarterback. He's a solid mobile quarterback. He can run, but I mean, he does 15 touchdowns this season, 300 yards, or over 230 yards just 3 times.
Against bad defense.
Against bad defenses. I mean, like I said, I get it. He doesn't have any receivers to throw the ball to, and I understand that. But man, I mean, some quarterbacks seem to be doing all right with trash wide receivers. At times. I mean, and don't need to go against the second or third worst pass defense in order to put up numbers. But whatever.
Yeah, that's true. All right, guys. We are. Who you got? There you go. Yes. Hey, listen, this is my favorite segment of the show because it breaks down the 3 phases of the game. I'm really excited. This is going to be one of our last ones, man. It's excited because of the matchups, which I'm super excited for because, listen, I love underdogs. I love wild cards, but the teams are the best teams representing each conference right now, and that's what I love because then you're going to get the highest quality of football. You're not going to get any blowouts. It's not going to be like, oh, man, it's 35 to – no. No, these are going to be overtime, close games, decided by 4 less. That's what I think. All right, I'm going to start off with the first one. Who you got? 49ers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's in Philly. Coach. Both coaches are great. Nick Sirianni has the Eagles come out and dominated the Giants when everybody said they were going to have jet lag even though they were at home. Kyle Shanahan has took Mr. Relevant, the last person picked, not the quarterback, the last overall NFL pick, and he's taken him. And Brock Purdy is in the Offensive Player of the Year conversation. Those are both good coaching jobs with both great young quarterbacks. I gotta give it the slight edge to Kyle Shanahan just because of what he's done with Brock Purdy and how he has him playing. You know, I think it's probably going to be the quarterback of the future. So you're going to hear his name a lot. You know, he's poised. He's playing good. Everybody right now, all the NFL execs are racking their brain like, well, how did he drop this far? It's other quarterbacks that were picked before him that look bad. Now you could say it's because of their situation. Or you could say coaching. Or you could say he's just a better player. We wouldn't know. We would not know. Nobody would know if Brock Purdy was on Tennessee and Malik Willis was here. It could be flipped. We don't know because that's what life calls for. Sometimes you get, dealt a great hand. Sometimes you get dealt a bad one. It depends how you play it. They're all good hands, right? So I got to give Coach Kyle Shanahan. Offense, man, this is good. Like offense, you got offensive linemen. So San Francisco is all pros on all levels. O-line, they have Trent Williams. Running back, they have Christian McCaffrey. Tight end, they got George Kittle. Then you got Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. That offense is lit. And then people don't even talk about Elijah Mitchell, who's bombed too, right? And they're healthy. So people don't talk about the running game that San Francisco does. And then you got Brock Purdy, whose stats are phenomenal playing. And then on the other side, you got Philadelphia, who has Jalen Hurts. Until he got hurt, was definitely in the conversation for MVP. And he might be in this I got to look at the finalists, but he might be in the finalists for MVP this year. Then you got the running backs. Miles Sanders is bald this year. You got Scott, the giant killer. Climbed that beanstalk last week. Then you got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Goddard. Like, hey, Philly and Philly is one of the best online in football. They got Lane Johnson and Kels. Not Kelsey, Kels. That's what they told me how to say last name. Their offensive line is lit too. So I'm not gonna say push, but I'm gonna give the Eagles the edge on the offense because of Jalen Hurts. I think he's gonna make a difference in this game. We can get to that later. The defense, both for the defense. San Francisco was number 1, and I believe, let me verify this, but I believe the Eagles were number 2. Okay, so yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles in the regular season were 1, and San Francisco was 3. Cause like the Eagles, and they've been consistent all year. So the defense, I gotta go once again. San Francisco has all pros: Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, and Hufanga. So that's crazy. But Philly's defense is great as well. You know what I'm saying? They got big play Slay. He's vicious. They got James Bradbury, who balled out, who the Giants cut, which was crazy. They got Gardner Johnson as a strong safety. They got Hassan Reddick, who's been balling, and Josh Sweat. They got Fletcher Cox. Like this game is gonna be. I can't wait. When you talk about playoff football, bringing it, it's gonna be in Philadelphia. And I'm going to make my pick here. I think this game comes down to the quarterback play. Who makes the mistakes? Who makes the turnover? I think Jalen Hurts is out to prove the world wrong. And I got Philadelphia going back to the Super Bowl and beating the San Francisco 49ers 28-24. All right, Craig, who you got? I got Philly, man.
Man, all right. Okay, this I do agree with you. Like I was coming into this saying that these are the 4 best teams. These are the 4 best teams in the NFL, not just in their conference or whatever. I think these are the 4 best teams in the NFL. Now I did pick the Bills last week because I just thought they were going to win, but being at home and all that. But I'm not surprised that they lost. I'm surprised how they lost and in which the way they lost. But I mean, you got to give the Bengals credit, man. These are the 4 best teams. So for this game. It's like all these are going to be tough, man. Like I was going through this at work, thinking about this at work all like
me too.
But coaching, man, I'm going to give it to Shanahan just because of like you said, the job that he's done with dealing with this quarterback position, having to go from your Trey Lance the first game, losing him early in the season, the first game of the season, and then having to go to Garoppolo and now having to go to Purdy. Not only that, but the team started out 3-4. And they won 10 in a row to end the regular season, and then followed by another 2 in the playing the playoffs. So, I mean, their team is rolling right now. They had some couple of hiccups or a couple of close games or whatever it is, but for the most part, this team is just, I mean, it's crazy. And Brock Purdy, he's 16 touchdowns and 3 picks. Like he has more touchdowns in less games than Daniel Jones had all season.
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy. Imagine if he had played the whole season. Like, these guys on pace to throw over 30 touchdowns and about like 6 or 7
10 picks. Yeah, about 6, 7
something like that. In 7 games, it's crazy what he's able to do. Now I get it. He has a lot of talent around him, all that, all that around him, and they traded for Christian McCaffrey. I'll give him credit for that too. I don't know what Shanahan's input was on the Christian McCaffrey trade. I don't know how much input he had into it, but I'm going to give him credit for that too. I thought that was a huge move to go out and get Christian McCaffrey for this team. And they lost the first game to Kansas City. He didn't play that much. He played in less than a week.
First, like 3 days.
Ever since that game, they've been undefeated. So, and they look like a totally different team. So I got to give him credit for that too. So I'm going to lean Shanahan for that one. Offense, man. You got Jalen Hurts versus Brock Purdy, basically. And I love the way Brock Purdy's played, but Jalen Hurts was an MVP candidate pretty much all season. And besides not the last game of the season, 2 games before that where he didn't play, you could say he was the MVP for the whole season. What he was able to do for his Eagles team, how he elevated this team. I mean, I gotta give that I'm going to lean quarterback Jalen Hurts. Wide receivers, once again, I got to go Eagles, man. Devontae Smith, the way he's had a great season. Obviously, AJ Brown, Pro Bowl season. Debo Samuel's been in and out of the lineup a little bit. He's been hurt, but he's still a really good wide receiver. He can still do multiple things, running the ball and catching, like Curtis Samuel, for instance. And then Brandon Ayuk, when Debo was out, he stepped up into that number one receiver role, played amazing.
They got to pay
so
him.
I gotta, yeah. So I gotta lean Eagles for that. But the running back position, I'm definitely going 49ers. I think Chris McCaffrey. I mean, I'm a huge fan of his. What he did in Carolina. I think he's arguably one of the best, if not the best, all around running back, catching and receiving. He's up there. I mean, him and Eckler and I'm probably going to miss a couple names. I don't know, Saquon, when he can catch passes out the backfield too, but not like those two.
Eckler, Saquon, I would say Eckler and McCaffrey,
Yeah, those are two of the best.
Yeah.
I mean, but on the other side, I mean, Sanders had his best season this year, like his best season. Last year he had no touchdowns rushing. This year I think he had 12. I got to go double check it, but I think he had 12. Either 9 or 12 or something like that, but I think so. And then you have Gainwell. Gainwell had a great game last week. I mean, they have a lot of good running backs, but also Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell can stay healthy, which he has been since he's got back. Him and McCaffrey, a really good 1-2 punch. Tight end, I'm going Kittle. I love Goddard. I think he's a really good tight end, but I got to go Kittle here. Kittle's Pro Bowler. Then it comes basically down to the offensive line. I think both offensive lines are great. I'm going to lean towards Philly. I think they came into this season with the best offensive line on paper. PFF had them rated as the best, and I think they still have them rated as the best. I got to double check it, but I think they do. So I'm leaning Philly just because I think they have a slightly better offensive line than San Francisco. So I have to go Eagles right there for offense. Defense, I'm leaning Philly just because they were their first team. I know they played an extra game, but they were their first team since 1989 to get 70 sacks in the season. They're getting after the quarterback for them is just, I mean, Fletcher Cox, Hassan Reddick, who I really like, who played well in Carolina last season. I mean, Bradbury had a pick last week against his former team. I know how hype he was about that. San Francisco, man. San Francisco has. I like Mufunga. He had a great season. Obviously, Bosa. So I mean, both teams have great players on each side of the ball. But I'm going to lean Philly just because I think they can get to the quarterback a little bit better, and they have been consistently throughout the season. I think they had 5 sacks against Daniel Jones last week. So I mean, they're getting after the quarterback. So I'm leaning Philly there. For this game, I think it's going to come down to coaching and quarterback play. And whoever makes the least amount of mistakes. And Brock Purdy hasn't made pretty much any mistakes for the most part. He's only had 3 interceptions. So, and last week he didn't turn the ball over. But the thing that's kind of worries me about him is that when he's mobile and he's trying to do stuff on the run, he doesn't make the best decisions. Like he had a couple of throws in there that could have been picked off, or he doesn't get the ball in the right spots. So where Jalen Hurts, he lives being mobile. So I think that's not going to frustrate him if he can get outside the pocket or anything like that. So that's why I'm leaning towards the Eagles. And I think both coaches are going to make really good game plans. I think you might see a Brock Purdy pick here. I'm going to go on a limb and say you're going to get a Brock Purdy pick. So that's why I'm leaning Eagles. I got the Eagles winning this game. I'm going 30-27.
Okay. Miles Sanders had 11 touchdowns. And Philadelphia offensive line is rated number 1. They kept it. They're beasts. All right.
Yeah, they are good.
Mo, 49ers versus Eagles. Who you got?
This is a tough one, man. Coaching wise, I'm gonna go Shanahan. Strictly kind of on, like I said earlier, you take a third string quarterback, you deal with what he's dealt with this year. Even with Debo going down, Debo going down for the time period he went down, and for you to still, move the ball, be productive, keep this team together. I think it's a good showing for him. So I'm gonna go Shanahan. for offense. Offense. That's tough. Who? Only reason, all right. Only reason I'm say Philly is because it hurts. Just when it go down, cool, because they're kind of even across the board on most outside of running back. So and I think that difference between Hurts and Purdy is kind of at least enough to say, well, I'm gonna go Philly offensively. Defensively, I'm gonna go San Fran. Just the way they've been all season has just been crazy. They've had their moments like anybody else would have, but they've been right there all year long. This right here is, I think, it's a rational pick, but it's also an emotional pick. Shout out to Fat Beezy, rest in peace, Fat Beezy.
Yeah.
I think I would love to see, for multiple reasons, I would love to see San Fran, in the Super Bowl. So I'm going to say this in a very close game. I'm going to say 27-24 on the last second field goal. San Fran in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Hey, the crazy thing is it could go either way. It could.
But I do think Purdy. I do agree with Craig. I think Purdy will turn the ball over at least once in this game.
Yeah.
I do believe in that.
All right, Craig. Bengals versus Chiefs. Who you got?
All right, man. Okay. This is no disrespect to either one of these coaches, because I think they both done a great job, and I'm just only basing it off of this season. I don't even know what I want to do here. Last week I know I picked Taylor over McDermott.
Yeah.
Man, this is tough. This to me is tougher than the 49ers Eagles. I think I'm going to lean slightly towards Taylor. I don't know. It's tough. I think just because of the how the team played last week, how the team has dealt with not having all 5 healthy offensive linemen. They only have 2 right now. Mm-hmm. And it just has to come down to me how they went into that game last week and how they came away with a tougher opponent on the road. And you go into their environment, which is hostile, and they able to, not only did they win, but they dominated that team. That's kind of what's pushing me over the edge. Andy Reid has done a phenomenal job, especially without having a number 1 wide receiver for this team, having really trying to figure out the whole running game, because CEH is not that guy, and he went down anyway, and just having to deal with that. And then they bring in a 7th round pick. What's his name? Pont, I don't know how to say his name. Poncheo or something like that. The kid from Rutgers, I believe. He's had an amazing rest of this. He's had an amazing season. Combine that with Jerick McKinnon, who I forgot about. So he was hurt for a while. He was on San Francisco and Minnesota, and I forgot where he was for a second there, but he's had a great season as well. So, but I just think the job that especially after starting out 0-2, and then how everybody was talking about a Super Bowl hangover and all this stuff, and they were able to figure it out. They lost Chase in there for a little bit, and they still made a more than decent, made a great run to get back to this AFC Championship game. So I'm going to lean Taylor for slightly. Offense, only because Patrick Mahomes has, you can't count them out, but only because there's that in the air. I got to go Bengals.
Yeah.
I might lean Bengals anyway, just because of overall, I would take Patrick Mahomes just because I think he's the better quarterback. But I think Joe Burrow, he's right there. He's got to be, if he's not 1 in a lot of people's minds, he's got to be 2. Got to be 2 at this point. Josh Allen, who I thought was right there, he's still up there, but Joe Burrow's taking another step.
Josh Allen, maybe
I think
4.
Maybe 4.
I will put Jalen Hurts above him.
Whoa, we didn't even believe in Hurts. What one of you?
Wow. It was
wow.
me.
Okay. All right.
Prove me wrong.
So I guess he did. But I know Dan Orlovsky said Patrick Mahomes is the best talent in the NFL, but Joe Burrow is the best quarterback. He was breaking down everything that he does better than everybody else. And I ain't got no problem with that. I still would pick. Yeah, I still would pick. Patrick Mahomes, but I can understand why people say Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I get it.
Got a great career, and I think they have a better running game, at least with Mixon. I think their wide receivers are better. They have 3 wide receivers. Even if you want to just say that the first two wide receivers, I do obviously Kelsey is better than anybody that as far as tight
one
ends
of the
go.
best ever.
Anybody that the Bengals has at all.
Kelsey's pushing his way to first ballot status, man.
He's definitely first ballot. I wouldn't. I mean, if he doesn't go first ballot,
something's wrong here. He's pushing himself one of the greatest.
And I thought he was going to have maybe like a little bit of I knew he was going to have more on his plate because he's the number 1 guy now. But I thought since he's getting up there in age, he would kind of take a step back. Nah, he's still going like he's 23 out there. So
yeah, man.
But I am leaning towards the Bengals just because I think they have more playmakers. So I got to go there. Defense, I got to go Bengals again. I just think their defense is playing at a different level right now. The way Trey Hendrickson is getting after the court. I mean, he can get after the quarterback, and he made that big play. He made that big play against the Ravens in the first game, taking it back to the house. That was huge. And I just thought the defense in general, they shut down that Bills high-scoring offense, the high-powered offense. I just didn't see that coming. That if you want to say I was shocked about something for the playoff, that's what I was shocked about. How the Bills offense just got manhandled by this Bengals defense, and it just wasn't even close. So I think the Chiefs have 2 really good players, Clark and Jones. They're freaks. But I mean, overall defense, I'm going with the Bengals right now with how they're playing. I reserve the right to change my pick on Sunday because I'm not sure what's going on here. But I am picking the Chiefs here, man. I think I know Mahomes is down and out, and I just picked the Bengals in every category. But I think there's something to be said about championship mentality, and I know Patrick Mahomes has that. If he can't do nothing physically, I think mentally he's 100% ready for this game.
Yeah,
and I think he's going to be coming out. He's going to come out. He's going to be ready to get revenge. Like the Bengals beat this team 3 times last year in general, like last calendar year, twice in the regular season, in 2 different regular seasons, and in the playoffs, all by 3 points. So I don't see this game I can't see this game not being another close game again. But I just can't see, but also can't see Patrick Mahomes losing this game again, even though he's hobbled and he has to deal with everything that's going on and all the playmakers on that offense for Joe Burrow, and he's just Joe Cool. And I got to go Chiefs, man. And I'm picking the Chiefs 31-28.
All right, Mo. Bengals versus Chiefs, who you got?
Man. Coaching wise, I'm not gonna go off body work like whole body work. I'm gonna go off season body work. And for that reason, I'm gonna go Zach Taylor. Because of what he's done, especially recently with the O-line issues, especially the O-line issues they had beginning of the season, how they got them fixed. Because the way it was going before the season, the beginning of the season, Joe Burrow wasn't gonna make it through the season. I think they gave up. I think in the first 8 games, they gave up like 40 sacks, if I'm not mistaken, or something close to that. It was like a crazy number. And I think it lowered over the last 8 games. And then just how they dominated Buffalo was just amazing. Offensively, and I'm only saying this because I'm not even saying it because of just that. Overall, I'm gonna go Bengals. Just the wide receiver core.
Okay.
That wide receiver core, like honestly, and I think Tony Romo said in Israel, all 3 of them could go somewhere else and be a number 1. I mean, I know Chase ain't going nowhere, but I feel like Boyd and Higgins can go somewhere else and be a legitimate number 1.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And be legitimate. Like it be I'm not saying put up Chase numbers, but be like legitimate, the number 1 guy. Defensively, I'm gonna take the Bengals. And it's kind of funny because the Bengals remind me of just, if you look at the Bengals roster, I mean, defensively, they're like castaways. I don't think nobody on that starting defense was somebody they drafted, if I'm not mistaken. I think maybe one or two, but their defense is mainly built of people that didn't want them no more.
Yeah.
You know, you talk about like you talk about like a Hilton, Eli Apple on the outside. Giants drafted him in the first round and basically released him, I think, or gave him up for goods.
They did. I think they released him. I think he went to the Saints after that.
Yeah, you talking about their defense is full of people full of guys that people ain't want no more. And yet and still their D coordinator is put them together, utilize them in ways that makes them productive, and it works for them. This is a tough one. This is a legacy game for Mahomes. And I've heard this, and I even had to sit back and look at it. Like, okay. I mean, if you look at it though, because if you're going to put him in that upper tier, that elite, it's like let's win your second one now. You know what I'm saying? You won your first one. You've been in 5 straight AFC championship games, but you got 1 Super Bowl to
already.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's a gut check type thing, especially if you lose Burrow again. Like if he beat you at your crib twice, like that's tough. Like AFC championship game, he go to your crib, beat
Burrow
you twice.
better win a Super Bowl. Because if he don't win no Super Bowl, I don't want to hear none of that.
Yeah. You lose back to back. Yeah, that's tough.
Cincinnati, Boomer. Never mind. All right, let me stop. Go ahead.
Hey, this. Oh my goodness! Like this is it's tough for me on this one. You know what? Bengals going back. Bengals going back. 27-20. Bengals going back.
Oh man. I mean, that's good. I would.
Yeah, it's right now. I think Cincinnati just mirrors what they were at a more elite level last year. Like when they went on that run, like it looks better than it did last year, because the Baltimore one, I had to sit back and look at it. Yeah, they struggled, but it's division. It's the third time playing an opponent. Like it's going to be physical. They know you too well. You know what I'm saying? But how they came out and beat Buffalo, I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
All right. So first of all, I can't wait for this game. This is going to be awesome. Head coaches. I mean, listen, we all said Zach Taylor wasn't going to be good. He's proved us wrong. I was one of the people who said they were going to do a slump. Then they went on a winning streak. And they're in the AFC Championship game, second year in a row against Kansas City. Andy Reid is Andy Reid, man. He just gets, I got to give it to Zach Taylor, give him his flowers, man, just based on this year. He won in Buffalo. He not only did he win in Buffalo, he dominated in Buffalo. That's hard to do. In Buffalo in the playoffs, and it's snowing, they came out there and beat the Bills like they stole something. Terrible, man. Up and down the field, man. It didn't even look like the Bills belonged there. But anyway. I got to give it Zach Taylor. Now, Andy Reid has done a phenomenal job this year. No Tyreek Hill, number 1 seed. Got Patrick Mahomes probably going to get the MVP. They're probably 99% sure. I don't know. I don't think he can win it unanimously because it's set up differently now. I think they vote for the top 5 players, which I like better because it's not going to be so much one-sided, and other players can be involved in the voting process. That's neither here or there. But coaching, I'm going with Zach Taylor. Offense, I got to go with the Bengals. Good running game. Joe Mixon, Samaje Perine, the Commanders drafted him, and just like one of those collection of players that are doing good in other places, like Eli Apple's doing good there. They got Joe Burrow, who's probably the second best quarterback. I know Dan Orlovsky, but if Joe Burrow goes to another Super Bowl and loses, it's going to be a lot of chatter. Because Mahomes has won one and a Super Bowl MVP and MVP and about to win a second MVP. You gotta slow down with that type of talk. Because if Joe Burrow goes to the Super Bowl and they lose to Philly, then it's gonna be like, well, you heard that from Peyton Manning for a long time. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's interesting. They're talking about Patrick Mahomes' legacy, and I was like, he hasn't even been playing that long. Let's talk about his legacy after 10 years. Because people struggle in the playoffs. It's hard. Peyton Manning's one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history, but he struggled in the playoffs. That's a fact. It's hard to win in the playoffs. Hard to win the championship. But Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, you're right. They got to bring back T. Higgins, but they're a monster, man. And their offensive line, what they did against Buffalo defensive line is gonna it's you got to mention that. You got to mention that. It has to be mentioned. I don't know if they're gonna replicate the same. I think that Frank Clark and Chris Jones are different animals down there. I don't think they're going to let Cincinnati just run up and down the field. Plus, all the games have been close anyway. But decided by 3 points, right? Defensive side of the ball, I got to go Cincinnati. Even though Kansas City shows up, their defensive coordinator was the coordinator of the Giants. He just has a championship mentality. So Kansas City defense isn't bad in the playoffs, and they're going to come out there and they're going to do good. I just got to give it to Cincinnati's defense because Trey Hendrickson, Eli Apple, they got the phenomenal safety, right? They got Von Bell. They got Jesse Bates. DJ Reader, their defense is good. And a lot of people don't know who these people are, but we watch football, so we know who they are. And they ball out. They punished Buffalo last week. So this game is going to be very interesting. People are talking about Joe Burrow as the best quarterback. I think that slows down the talk. I think that gets slowed down this talk. You talking about Cincinnati's going to beat the Chiefs 4 times, and all the games have been decided by 3. I was listening to Travis Kelce podcast, New Heights, with his brother. You know what he said? He said, I can't wait to see them in good because he lost a fumble in that game. He was like, I got to get mine back. So be careful. I think Kansas City has been quiet, and, Cincinnati's been talking trash. Championship window's open as long as I'm here. Joe Mixon, we the big dogs of the AFC. I think Kansas City is going to win this game. And I think Patrick Mahomes he's going to come out and pull a Jordan game. He's going to come out and throw a touchdown, and he's going to win in overtime. And they're going to be like, how does the ankle feel now that you're going to the Super Bowl? He's going to be like, it feels good. And all that's going to quell, Young. I think that Patrick Mahomes, before it's all said and done, is going to be one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen to play the game of football. And I love Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow is going to be back, but I think this is going to start quelling Dan Orlovsky and all the other people that are saying Joe Burrow's better. Patrick Mahomes is going to be maybe hosting up as another Super Bowl trophy, but we'll know. We gotta wait till we get there. But I think it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row in their house, and it's been by 3 points. I think Kansas City wins this game, and I love it. It's going to be a wonderful playoff weekend.
What's the score, man?
Oh, I got the score 27-24 Chiefs. 3 points.
Oof.
All right, guys.